Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Madison and today I am doing my sorority recruitment experience. So I rushed at Valdosta State University back in 2017, so it has been a while, so just go ahead and bear with me. But I just decided I wanted to talk about my experience because I feel like it was somewhat different of the fact of my personality. I used to be very shy. I was definitely not outgoing. It made me super nervous to talk to people, and I did this anyways. So I feel like there's not a lot of videos out here talking about girls who have more of my personality. It's more girls who are super outgoing, which is perfectly fine, but I felt like we as shy girls needed like a representation. So that is why I'm doing this video, even though it's been a few years. I even kind of had to look up what the week of recruitment went by because I remember it, but I couldn't remember the names. But anyways, so I would like to just go ahead and say that I think rushing and being in Great Life is great opportunities. It's so much fun. You meet great people. I met one of my best friends and who I absolutely love, and even though I don't live here or near her, obviously I moved from Valdosta, so even though we don't go to the same school and stuff, I still go visit her and we talk all the time. So I think that is a totally awesome thing to do, and I just want to talk about the actual experience of the week. So I ended up rushing and I pledged to Zeta off at Valdosta State University. And then once I did leave Valdosta State after my freshman year, and I moved to a different school, they don't have sororities there, so I actually became an alum for Zeta. I contacted Nationals, told them my story, and then they were like, okay, yeah, sure, you can be an alum. So I'm an early alum. By sophomore year, I was already alum of my sorority. But anyways, so I want to start out with talking about how it works at Valdosta State because it's a little bit different than bigger universities, and then I'm going to go basically through the week and how I felt. So you move in, and then the next day's kickoff day, and basically you learn about the sororities and stuff and get to know your Gamma Chi group. And your Gamma Chi group is the group of girls that you're going to be going into rooms with. And then you have a Gamma Chi who's like your mom throughout the week, and she just helps you through the entire process. Then it's service day, and usually you do some type of service, but it rained on our day, so we did not do that. Then you go into round one, which is philanthropy day, and that is the day that you talk to all the sororities, and then that night you will put your top 5, I believe, and then your bottom 2, and then they will go through their list of people, and that is then through a system of what you put as your top 5 and what they put. You'll figure out who you go to on round 2, which is sisterhood day. And then so you can, I believe, go back to a maximum of 5, your top 5. But honestly, I feel like it's pretty rare to go back to 5 sororities. You do 5 or less usually. And then you will do, I want to say, your top 3, bottom 2. And then go through the system again. And then you have round 3, which is preference day. And then that is the last day to talk to the sororities. And you just go back to whoever didn't drop you. And then your next day is bid day, when you actually get your bid. Oh, and on preference day, I believe well, for me, I just had 2 that I went back to. So it was like, I just did my 1 and 2. And then it just depended on how, what they thought. So that is basically the week. And then also, Valdosta does not allow sorority houses. It's actually still illegal there. So you just go into rooms. They don't have houses, but they use rooms in Nevin, and they set it up all like nice and pretty. And that is what you do instead of going into houses. And it works out just fine. Basically, honestly, between moving in and then rushing, I was so nervous, y'all. I had never been away from my house for more than probably 3 days for like camp, and I thought I was gonna die that week. So I moved to Valdosta State. I was so nervous from being away from home. I was so homesick, and genuinely, I don't think I probably should have rushed at this point. I should have really gotten just used to being at Valdosta. And you also moved in a week earlier than everyone else to Rush. And I also feel like because I did this, because I rushed in the fall of my freshman year, I really just hung out with Greek life people. And I think every college has other people that are not in Greek life who are just absolutely amazing. And I think that sometimes when you get wrapped up in Greek life, it's very hard to meet other people. If you're like me, because I had the anxiety of school and trying to balance a sorority, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I couldn't add another thing, so I missed out on a lot of the other groups, which I know that's not like that for everybody. So, but just for me, I feel like I really only hung out with Greek life people, which I really obviously loved being around them, but I think I missed out on meeting a lot of other amazing people. So with that, I think I was so nervous being there, and that is, I think I should have just let myself just like have like at least a semester just to get like used to being there, but I didn't. So I was so nervous at kickoff, and I don't even remember what happened on kickoff besides they gave me a pamphlet and we had dinner and we all talked and got to know my Gamma Chi group. And then service day, I also was so nervous that I don't remember what we did, but you're supposed to do a service, but it rained, so it didn't work out for us like that. But then round one, this is when I start remembering things, because this is when it got real. So I actually remember Phi Mu was my first one that I went into, and then I don't remember like my schedule after that, but Phi Mu was my first one, and I was so nervous, but obviously all the girls were super nice, and so I really liked that one. And besides that, I don't really want to like name what sororities I went to or what, because I don't want people to think I'm like bashing a sorority because I picked this one over this one, because that's not true. It's just your personal preference. But anyway, so I went in there and I was super nervous, and like talking to girls, these girls that were older than me, like I thought I was gonna like die because I was so scared and I was shaking. And so I got through the first few rounds, and I was really just having to calm myself down. And even though I was nervous, once you start talking, it gets better. It really does. But so I went through that whole day, got myself to calm down. I was really feeling good about some of the sororities. Some that I had went in thinking that I was gonna like better than others, because people are gonna tell you this. I feel like I'm like skipping around on subjects, but sorry. I just keep remembering things as I'm talking. People are gonna tell you to go in with an open mind, and then if you're like me, you're not gonna do that. And honestly, you have to. Like, I would, if I was personally to do it over again, I wish I would have stayed off the sorority Instagrams, because I feel like I got like these different vibes, and I was like, oh, this is what I like, or oh, this isn't what I like. And I had no idea what I liked because I hadn't even been around these girls. So just try to go in with an open mind. On the first day, some sororities are going to surprise you, because you're going to think that they're not going to be something that you like, and then they are going to end up being some that you like, and then there's going to be some that you were like, I'm going to love this sorority, and then you just don't. So keep that in mind. And I learned that on my first day, and when I reported back to my mom, I told her that's what I learned. So on the second day, I did go back to 4 sororities, and I liked all of them, but actually the one that I thought I least liked, I guess, that day I actually ended up really liking that one. So I feel like it's a very big deal about like who you're talking to, and I think that's one good thing to remember, that just because you didn't feel a connection because of one girl you talked to doesn't mean the next day you won't necessarily feel a different connection with the sorority. And I think that this part of the week is also when it becomes super upsetting, because you're starting to like realize, oh, like I really like this one, or I don't like this one, or whatever, you just don't care. And I think this is where it gets upsetting, because obviously you've already been dropped from some, and then you know which ones you're starting to really like. So the next day when you get your list back, it can be like devastating, almost. Not devastating, that was dramatic. it can be really upsetting when you're realizing you're not going back to one of the ones that you really liked, which actually happened to me. So moving on to preference day, I got dropped down to 2, and I was actually super upset because one of the ones that dropped me, I really liked from sisterhood day, and I called my mom and I was super upset, and she was like, you know what, like, I was like, really, at this point, because I was dramatic 18-year-old Madison, I was like, I regret doing this. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it hurts your feelings, like, knowing, like, one that you really liked didn't want you back. Like, like, it sucks being like, oh, I really liked this sorority, and they were like, oh, you're not a right fit for us. When you're like, but I am the right fit for you. But with how the system works, you end up seeing, like, I guess I saw how that sorority was later on, like, once I had been at Valdosta for a while, and honestly, I probably wouldn't have been a good match for them, so it's fine, it worked out fine. But anyways, so my preference day, basically in the morning you get your schedule, and I was super upset because a bunch of the girls that I was in my Gamma Chi group actually got to go back to the sorority that I got dropped from, and I was really sad. And so it was kind of just like rough, and I feel like this is where rush can start making you second guess yourself and your personality, because you see these other girls got picked and you're like, but I wanted to be in that one, like, why didn't they bring me back? And that's where it starts to get tough, because you're like feeling not confident now, and you're second guessing yourself, and you keep thinking about what went wrong. And then it's just like, well, in the long run, you just have to think this isn't like that big of a deal. But at the time, it seems like a really big deal. And so if you end up getting dropped from one, know you're not alone, and you're allowed to be sad about it. So anyways, then I would also like to point out, while we're on preference day, because this happened to me, girls aren't always as they seem. These girls, not saying all of them, but some of them switch their personality, and sometimes, and they were all super nice. It wasn't that they switched their personality and were rude or something, but I felt like after preference day, one of the sororities that I went back to, I talked to one girl and I was like, you know what? Literally, I based it off one conversation. Do not base your decision off of one conversation. Base it off of how you feel about the morals and stuff that they have. Morals, not morals, ideologies, I guess. I don't know how to explain that. But just like their philanthropy and stuff, and like, say you're a Christian, like, ask them about their Bible studies and things like that. But don't base it off one girl that you talked to that week, because that's what I did. And I was like, you know what, this other sort, not for me. And then I actually met the girl later on, and I really liked her, like, just meeting her like casually instead of being in a rush setting. And I was like, you know what, like, what if I hadn't like based it off of her? Like, it wasn't even based off of her, but like, it was kind of like my teetering edge type thing to be like, it's kind of like my deciding factor, I guess, just because she was the last person I talked to. But then I met her in person. I was like, you know what? Like, if she like just would have had her personality, how she really is, like, I think I would have, like, you know, it would have been even a harder choice for me. So I think just go into rush realizing that it's not necessarily all these girls' exact personalities. I know a lot of them do go in with their real personalities. Anyway, so coming from an 18-year-old girl who was scared to death, I'm thankful that I did rush, but I wish I would have been more prepared to, or for the emotions that were gonna come with it. I wish I would have known that, you know what, on preference day, I was gonna feel real insecure when the sorority I liked dropped me. Or that I was gonna be so nervous talking to these people. But I think if it's something that you want to do, you should do it. But I also would highly encourage to wait a semester unless it's just something you feel like you can, because I think that colleges also have a lot to offer besides just Greek life. And I feel like if you rush your first semester, you're gonna have a really hard time finding that balance again to do something besides Greek life. And I would say that was the only reason that I regretted rushing in the fall instead of in the spring. Okay guys, so that is it for this video. I know it was kind of rambly and I feel bad for that, but I just wanted to make it like I was just talking to a friend about rush instead of me like listing off things that you just needed to know. And I hope that if you are a shy or an anxious person, that this gave you some type of comfort knowing that other shy people go through it too. And if you are planning on rushing this fall or next spring, let me know in the comments and let me know where you're going. Especially if you're going to Valdosta State, because even though I don't go there anymore, I still absolutely love Valdosta State. So I just want to hear about that in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.